The process of getting a rated level in Geometry Dash is one of the hardest achievements to do in the game. Unless if you're an already established creator, getting level rates can seem impossible. It requires a lot of time and energy to create levels for casual players, and even if the level is considered rate-worthy, having it sent to moderators and having raw top rated is unlikely to say the least. Once you get a level rated, it's mostly guaranteed that you'll keep it. On the contrary, if a level is considered controversial to the game, it has a chance to get unrated, which leads us to the topic of this video. We will cover levels that were unrated after initially being rated, whether they were considered poor quality by the community, weren't verified legitimately, or we're going to be running through a list of these levels, and you may be surprised by the significance of some of them. Before we get started though, I want to thank Restoration Union members Disbelief and Alice for providing information about these levels that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to gather myself. Huge thanks to them. The first level we're going to talk about is BP Night. BP Night is cited as being one of the first demon levels rated. Released in 2013 and rated shortly after, BP Night is considered to be the first level to be unrated. BP Night was also considered to be a secret way demon. Secret way demons were very prominent back then as a way to verify levels without actually having to beat the level. The way you would access secret ways varied from level to level, but they have a commonality of an alternate path being accessible that has no obstacles, allowing the player to complete the level without putting in the work to actually beat it. BP Night looks like your typical demon. There really is nothing special about this level, on the surface at least. However, this level is hiding something really sinister. Oh my god. Other than having this accessible secret way, this level by some sources was also considered to be top 1, although for a very short time. So with that, I'd like to say, woohoo! Congratulations, BP Night! Yeah! Prime! BP Night was of course called into question for having a secret way, which we can conclude was the reason for this level's unrate. This level isn't too important, but it did mark a point in the game's history as a way to show that levels will be unrated if the creator steps out of line. Our next level, however, inspired one of the most popular levels in the game. Ice Hole Cave is another one of these secret way demons. Also released in 2013, it would be well known in 2014 before being unrated. It was updated multiple times over its history and even had a collab version of 1.7, which, if you think about it, makes it one of the first collabs in the game. The original level was made in 1.3, and it is said that part of the level is lost to time. And it's also why I can't really give a clear description of it because it has gone through many iterations. Now, the reason why this level is so important is due to Ice Carbon Diablo X. You're probably thinking, why am I mentioning Ice Carbon Diablo X? Well, let me explain. If you didn't know, Ice Carbon Zust is a level by Roadbows, which is considered to be a part of the Ice Carbon series. It is a level that is credited to the creation of Ice Carbon Diablo X. And if you've been around long enough, you'll know that this is considered a top 1 for a portion of this game's history. So why are we talking about this series? Well, the reason why Ice Hole Cave is so important is that it actually inspired Roadbows to make Ice Carbon Zust. Following this line of thinking, Ice Hole Cave was responsible for the creation of Ice Carbon Diablo X, which would make it one of the most influential levels in the game. A fun fact about this level is that it's made by the creator Small, which might ring bells if you've been around the GD community when Peaceful was released. I think it's really funny that Small went from this to being involved in something like Confused was a level made and rated in 1.3, and believe it or not, this level has been preserved, at least the original version. The creator released an update, and in sometime in 1.5, Rawtop deleted the level off the servers. The reason why is interesting. The level became physically impossible. And no, it was not the fault of the creator or anything like that, but rather a data corruption bug. This bug resulted in an object with the hitbox being moved to X0 and Y0 where the player spawned in. The technical details of this bug are a bit complex, and even I can't really give a really great explanation. But to summarize, the bug was caused by code in the game, which limited the level's uncompressed data to be below 100 kilobytes. If the data of a level went over this limit, it would be cut off. Somehow, and for some reason really technical, this bug caused Confused to be impossible. And due to this level had been heavily disliked and was deleted off the servers. Ice Cream is the level by Cyclic. Made in 1.5, it was very difficult in its time for being really confusing. The first person to beat it was Zobros. Later on, when Cyclic would quit, he would update the level to be empty, resulting in it being unrated and deleted. However, not everything is dark and gloomy for Ice Cream. It would later be re-uploaded and re-rated, making it the only level that's covered in this video to get its rate back. As for the level itself, it's rated Insane Demon on the servers, which rightfully so because this level has a lot of unorthodox parts in it. Like, what is this? Since we're already here, I'd like to cover a creator by the name of Zeriku, who has had a couple of their levels unrated. I would like to hand over the explanation to my friend Alice, who really wanted to talk about Zeriku, and considering she has helped me out with gathering info, I said why the heck not.
So, for those unaware, Zeriku was probably one of the most prolific creators in the game before 1.9, having made well over 100 levels at that point. A lot of them featured these incredibly bizarre gameplay gimmicks, absurd ideas that I really just haven't seen anywhere else in the game. And despite this, he actually did make some really genuinely good levels, some of which you will see here, but many of them are lost to time due to his habit of updating levels to be entirely different to how they were on release. I think the most infamous of these would probably be Sochi's ski jump. Although this level was never updated, judging by what we know, it gained a lot of notoriety in its time and to this day is rather well known among old community members. A major reason for this is most likely the fact that in 2014, WeoWeoTio uploaded a video calling it the worst demon level ever, which has since gained over 1 million views. As a level, it's really nothing too special, especially not enough to warrant it being called the worst demon in the game, even for its time. And it's honestly really easy these days. One of its most notable aspects is how there's still unknown sections, as Zeriku decided to make the end this branching path where players could take different routes in order to get different end screens, or as they're called in the level, medals. It's a pretty cool idea, but it's been a total nightmare for us in the Restoration Union, as it kind of sucks to not have videos or even screenshots showing parts of this level which are just completely gone. The level was finally unrated sometime around 2015, and it was deleted in mid-2016, which is a shame, especially considering that this level has no known copies, and it's not fully preserved, so yeah, it's just kind of sad to see. The first one of these is probably the most well-known one, a level called Zero Kabi. This was another secret way demon that, much like Wild Gigas, was somewhat well-known up through 2016, when out of nowhere he updated the level to this experimental Red 2.0 thing, which, as it turns out, was a collab with another GW user named Zeri, and was originally named Jitterdoll. You'll quickly also realize that the level names don't match up either. All of these updates were just entirely different levels that were slapped on later on in order to just get them rated. And this level, Zero Kabi, would later have multiple notable levels inspired by it, such as Zeroi Kabi by Roy Mousty and Zeroi Kapi, both of which are rated extreme demons today. The final level I'll be talking about is probably my favorite level of his, and unlike all the others I mentioned, we actually do have an original copy of this one, and it didn't need to be restored or anything. Brazil World Cup was a 1.7 level, which actually made really interesting uses of what was available in the editor at the time. The main premise of the level is that if you wanted to complete it as intended, you needed to find a way to complete these various secret paths, or goals as they're called in the level, which, if you go through them, would prevent the level from going completely dark via a touch-activated color trigger. This is an extremely innovative idea for the time that I've never really seen anything like from that era, and sadly, for whatever reason, in 1.8, he decided to update the level to have a secret way, which resulted in it getting unrated and later on deleted. The reason he did this isn't entirely clear, as when he posted to GW about it, what he said was really vague and cryptic. However, thankfully, when he did post it, someone asked him for a copy, to which he responded by uploading a copyable version, which was later copied by a few people and uploaded to the servers again by said people. Now, those had been up since 2014, but hadn't really been known until iSane joined the Restoration Union in 2020 and discovered them on the servers, which is still an incredible find. Anyways, that's all for me. It's something that I care about, and I hope more people find the time to learn about this stuff, as I find it very interesting. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Goodbye.
Now you might be thinking, yeah, sure, this is cool and all, but I mean, these are really old levels. Well, I'll give you some modern examples. There really isn't much to say about Crazy Funk 3. It really is your ordinary 2.1 level. It looks pretty good, and the level is indeed rated at some point. But after being asked to remove this art, The creator refused, and RobTop decided to take matters into his own hands. He deleted the art from the level in which it was re-uploaded by the creator, and it remains to be unrated. There is a lot of discourse surrounding whether RobTop should be allowed to remove things from levels if it means a level will get rated, but considering the art in question, I wouldn't be surprised if RobTop didn't want this type of thing in his game. So regardless of how you feel with RobTop's reinforcement of guidelines, I think it's really funny that this even happened, because like I can only imagine how RobTop woke up one morning, said, "Oh boy," said, "Oh boy, it's time to see what people are doing in my game." Oh. This is what happens when you give unfiltered level editor access to children. I will probably need to edit and censor all of this out, but if I had to describe this level in one word, it would be swastikas. Like, a lot of swastikas. The fact that this level got rated in the first place is also really funny to me. RobTop saw this and just rated it anyways. Now, I don't know the context of this and why it got rated, but thankfully it did get unrated, and being honest here, I think it's really funny. I seriously don't know what came into RobTop's brain when he said, "Yup, this looks fine." This doesn't really matter anymore, as this was almost 10 years ago at this point, but it doesn't really excuse it. It's so poorly made and out of taste that the idea of a kid doing this kinda messes with my brain a little bit. No Limits is a level released in 2016 by Yoshi-13. It took a while to get footage for this level, as it would bug in some parts, and I think that's mostly down to it being a product of its time. However, the gameplay or even how the level looks isn't what's so interesting about this level. It's the fact that nobody on YouTube seems to have footage of the actual level. You wonder why that may be. Well, it is said that only hours after this level was uploaded, the creator seemingly lost their marbles and released an update with the words "haters," then released an update saying that they did not think the level deserved a feature. While RobTop unrated it shortly after, he actually commented on the level saying, "I will remember not to rate any levels by you in the future." With that, we are finished. While I would have liked to have talked more in depth about these levels, it would have quickly gone beyond the scope of this video. Maybe someday I could definitely revisit this topic and be way more in depth with some of these levels. As I said earlier, I really do want to thank Disbelief and Alice for handing me info, and I really hope I didn't get a lot wrong.